With us today on Island Focus, I have the pleasure of talking with Dr. Carl Bonham, who is the Executive Director for the University of Hawaii Economic Research Office. So nice to see you again, Carl.
It's nice to see you, Lila. It's been a while.
It has, and I'm excited to hear what UHERO can share with us about moving forward, redesigning, re-envisioning, and really helping Hawaii to reposition itself in the world.
You know, the destination that I think many of us would aspire to is really one of a more diverse, more equal economic situation, one where state and county government are even more functional than they are now, and to have a very robust public health system that protects the most vulnerable and protects all of us from what may be future pandemics or, other crises that may arise, whether it's a volcanic eruption or a, widespread flooding or whatever it is, to be more prepared than we obviously have been. And one of the key messages and the things that we've been talking about in terms of economic diversification and sort of that process of getting to a new situation is that it's going to take a very long period of time. The work that goes into creating new avenues of economic activity is just very, very slow. And because many of these pieces of that economy are very small, it takes time for them to grow into something that, for example, can replace, 1 million visitors worth of spending kind of thing. And so really, there is sort of a very short run imperative, and that is to get visitor spending back in our state safely. That's a short run imperative that we really have to do while we simultaneously work towards that vision or where we want to go.
UHERO has always provided reports, almost a template, if not a blueprint, of that pathway. And it can be exciting, right? I mean, the length of time doesn't mean that it's going to be interminable like we're feeling right now with this COVID.
Well, that's true, and the process itself is an interesting one and challenging one, both for people who are actually doing it, right? The entrepreneurs and the business people, and obviously there are opportunities that are arising. I mean, there already are businesses that exist right now only because of COVID, right? Whether it's new cleaning services or new security services or new pop-up restaurants that only do delivery, farm-to-table programs or the farm-to-car program, which is the one that I've been using. All of these things are, innovative and potentially exciting. And some of them are working really, 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 really well and will likely go on for the foreseeable future. And from our perspective at UHERO, the opportunities are around the research and around trying to inform. We do a lot more at UHERO than sort of just economic forecasting and some policy advice around the macroeconomy. We have a group that we call UHERO Analytics, which is really all about communicating with data. And we've been working really hard with new sources of data, much higher frequency, daily data, weekly data, and tracking the economy and trying to track the recovery, everything from cell phone data to the health metrics. We have a group that's called Project Environment that many people who are all sort of interested in the economy may not be aware of. That's actually our largest research group, very, very focused on natural resource management, protecting the watershed, heavily involved in the Ikevai project, which is studying water resources across the whole state. And we have a group that's called Energy Policy and Planning that's very, very focused on equitable, low cost, fair way to get to 100% renewable.
So as we wrap up our conversation for today, it sounds like that part of the transition is helping our local people move from the idea of having a job to actually being entrepreneurs, to be creative in what also makes them happy and can help Hawaii.
So that's a really important piece that we really should expect a significant amount of what economists call creative destruction, where the old way of doing things sort of breaks, and people have to think up new ways of doing things and be innovative. And innovation doesn't just mean doing something with a computer and, designing software. It means changing the way you do business, changing the way you interact, and all of those things create opportunities. And one of the really key things for entrepreneurs in the state of Hawaii is to focus not just on serving the Hawaii community, but it's even if that's your initial goal is to make something for the local community, you really have to think about, the immediate next step, if not simultaneous step, is to try and figure out how you also provide that service or that good, whether it's a food product or a Sig Zane shirt. It's got to be sold to the rest of the world. We have to have the platforms that make our products available globally.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your energy and your creative ideas. It's kind of exciting to see where we might be going in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Lila. Aloha.
Mahalo for tuning in to Island Focus. You've just had the opportunity to meet Dr. Carl Bonham, who is Executive Director for the University of Hawaii Economic Research Office. Aloha.